Hello and welcome to BioCode. In this video, we will study how we can utilize sequence IO module of BioPython for writing a sequence record using sequence IO module into a separate file. So let's suppose that we have a sequence that is in Python, and we would like that is in Python string, and then we would like to save it in a particular file on our computer. So basically this video will demonstrate that. So as in the previous videos, as we have studied that to convert a particular string of elements, for example, let's suppose this is a protein sequence, let's suppose. So first of all, this will be stored in a string, right? And then it has to be converted into a sequence record using the sequence record module, and then it will become a sequence record so that it can be written out through sequence IO module into a separate file. So the exact same thing is happening over here, where if you don't understand this particular section of code, you can watch the sequence record videos and you will understand that. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a sequence module from BioSeq to create a sequence from the string variable of Python. Then I'm importing sequence record so that we can create a sequence record of the sequence itself. Then we are importing from bio.alphabet a generic protein, because it is a protein, so I'm declaring it to be a generic protein in the sequence record itself. Then we are storing the entire record into the record1 variable, and this now becomes a sequence record variable. We are also importing the sequence IO module, which will be utilized to write out this particular record of sequence into a separate file named as my record1.faa. So there is a simple function that is utilized to do this. First of all, let me just remove this, so I will rewrite it again. So now there are two scenarios. First is that you are hard coding the sequence that you have within Python, and that you are converting it into a sequence, then sequence record, and then you are storing it in the variable, and then you are going to write it out. There are some scenarios when you will be reading FASTA files and writing them at the same time. For example, there is a separate xyz.fasta file on your computer that already exists, and you would like to read it, then convert it into some other file of FASTA and then save it on your computer, for example abc.fasta. In that scenario, you will utilize the IO module, read the sequence, because then when you read a particular sequence, it gets converted into a sequence record automatically, and then you can save it on your computer, which is pretty much the same process after once you have read the particular sequence record. So let's suppose that now you have a sequence record, and now you will just like to write it on a particular file. All you have to do is call sequence IO module, and within that module you need to call in the write function, and within that write function you have to define three parameters, three arguments. The first one would be the sequence. It could be it could be a list of sequences, the sequence records, or it could be just a single record like over here. Then you need to pass in the handle. The handle can be the file relative, or it could be an absolute path. We will use the relative path now. And the third variable should be the format in which you would like to write the sequence file. So we are going to write a FASTA file, and we are not going to write any other file. We will try GenBank as well. So first of all, we need to pass in the record, our record one sequence. Now we need to pass in the handle. So let's call it my record1.fa, or it could be just FASTA as well. These are all extensions of FASTA. And then we need to provide the format that we need of this particular file. So it now has become FASTA file, and all we need to do is now just run this code, and it will be executed. So let's just also print out file successfully created. Okay, so let's run our code, and we'll see if the file is created. And voila, our file is created. We go to our directory, and we will see our file over here. Let's just find it. There we go. So this is our file of sequence. First of all, you see the accession ID and the species name, everything is available, and finally the sequence. Sequence is just a short sequence, so it does not really matter, just to demonstrate that it actually works. So also let's create a genbank file this time. Let's make it a command so it is not executed. All we have to do now is just enter genbank or GB. uh, in most cases it is recommended that you create a that you enter genbank in complete words rather than utilizing the abbreviation of GB. Okay, so there is an error. What is the error? Locus line does not contain a valid sequence type. So why is this error? This error is there because we did not provide any genbank related information in this sequence record, and we have to provide that information, the locus information, the sequence type, and the annotation, the biblical information. All that sort of information has to be provided so that it can be saved into a genbank file. I also missed the GB format, GB extension over here. So first of all, we need to create a genbank record. You can watch our previous video on the genbank record creation, and then you can save it in a genbank file, and it will work. So I'm just going to cut it out, and then we are going to make it, we are going to just run it again, and we'll see if our first file is created, and it is successfully created. So now we need to actually create, let's try the different thing. Let's try to create these 3 different records, and let's save all of them in a single FASTA file. Okay, so let's suppose that we are creating this sequence record 2, record 3. Also let's manipulate this sequence, and so that it is some sort of a differentiation between these sequences. And now we can also remove this information over here, and let's do this. This is just random numbers, by the way, and there is no existence of these sequences. This accession, by the way, actually exists within the genbank, and now I'm just demonstrating it. Okay, so over here, the only thing that we need to change is we need to pass in a list of records. And so let's create a list of records now. My records, and now all we have to do is pass in record 1, record 2, record 3, and now over here we need to pass in the list. So let's change the name as well. All records dot FASTA run number code. Let's see if the file is created, successfully created. Let's find that file, and it will be down over here, all records. So all of these 3 sequences are available. As you can see, all of them are different. You can save the same sequence multiple times as well. So in some cases you would like to save all of these sequences in a separate file, right? So in that scenario, you have to loop over this list. You have to take a separate sequence one by one, and then you have to write them out one by one. So let's do that. And first of all, we need to, okay, so now what we really have to do is we have to loop over the record. First of all, what we need to do is we have to declare a loop for